Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Edward Harrison, at Edward Harrison 28, aka Money Mo. If you're from Decatur, you know. Coming from the new studio build. And we haven't recorded our first session here with a guest, but you got me. So, what's going on with the world out there today? It's all about prosperity. It's all about making money and living good. Anybody tell you any different? They a lie. Nobody wants to be poor. Nobody wants to live poor. So what I'm noticing here lately is there is a whole onslaught of new creators that are coming out and upload content. I think this is the best thing to happen, and it's happening at the right time because we are in a time of change, and always in a time of change, things get kind of strange. If you're one of the people out there who are not creating, you are behind the ball. You need to step it up. You got to step your game up, man. You got to get behind that camera and hit record. You know what I'm talking about? So content is king right now. And if you're not making content, nobody knows who you are. This is the brand building age. What type of brand are you building? Or you a follower? You a sheep? You riding somebody's wave? What you doing? I'm trying to figure that part out. I know one thing. I never ride somebody's wave. I make my own wave. You know what I'm saying? You got to make your own motion in the ocean, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. On my channel right now, 25 subscribers. I ain't mad. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not mad. I'm glad of those 25 because that's 25 people that's checking on me. And for those same 25 people, I will show as much support as I can. I watch all their videos. And you know what I'm saying? If I subscribe to somebody, they have good content. I'm not just subscribing to somebody to do it. So there's a reason that I'm subscribing to these people on their channels, and every time they upload a video and I see it, I show my support. I think that's what everybody should do. If it's something in your niche or it's something that you're interested in, show your support to that creator. Show your support. And a comment goes a long way. A comment sometimes gives you the motivation to keep going when you want to quit. That support from your community is important, and we should always show it. So for the people out there who aren't making content, who only have a channel with a profile with no picture, no videos, you really don't have, I'm not going to say the right, but you don't have a leg to stand on to criticize someone else's video when you're not making a video yourself. Okay, so if you post a video and say somebody leaves a comment, but you check their profile and they have 100 videos, I would take that criticism, I would take notes on it, because they're probably telling you something that you really need to work on. But at the same time, if somebody leaves a negative comment or some kind of comment that, you know what I'm saying, rubs you the wrong way, and you go check their page and they have no videos, don't give any credit to that comment. Don't give any credit to it. I actually like exposing people who do that. In the comments, I ask them, well, where are your videos? Usually they don't respond because they know they don't have any videos. The thing about worrying about people criticizing you is they're worried about you criticizing them more than you're worried about them criticizing you. No one out here is perfect. No one's flawless. And a lot of people will act like it. They're just better at hiding their flaws than you are. I say if you have a flaw, you know, work on it, bring it to light, but don't lie about it. You know, people who lie about it, you're a hypocrite. No respect for hypocrites. That's what it is. And me being an outgoing, flamboyant person I am, I never really cared about people's opinions on me because, I don't know, I guess because I'm a Capricorn, we don't really care what you think as long as we get into where we trying to go. Once we get a goal set in our minds, you ain't going to stop it. It's like ADHD or whatever you call that on steroids. OCD, that's what it is. Look, I got to mess up. OCD. Once we get our mindset on the goal, there is nothing on this earth that is going to stop us from achieving it. No judgment, no words, none of that stuff. No comments is going to stop us from achieving it once our mind's set on it. And that's for the true Capricorns, which is what I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to stop till I get it. When I said I wanted to build a podcast studio the first time, it was done within 3 days. And my partner, I remember my partner, I told him I was going to do it. And he said, yeah, we should do this, do that. You know, by the next time I talked to him, he's like, man, what you up to? Oh, I'm in the podcast studio. He's like, stop playing. You was just talking about it. No, I made it happen. I found a way to make it happen. Same way when I wanted to redo the podcast studio and I wanted a new setup, I found a way to make that happen. You know, I didn't wait around and talk and dream. No, I found a way to do it. I was constructive with my resources, constructive with my networking, and resourceful with what I already had. I don't get rid of good stuff when I get it. If it's something that's useful, whether I'm using it or not, I'm gonna put it away, because like a lot of things in this room right now, there came a time when I needed it and it was ready. So, you know, you can start uploading content, you can start recording content with what you have. You don't even realize some of the resources you have that you never looked at as, I could use this. You got to be constructive. You got to be resourceful. In this day and age, that'll get you a lot further, I believe, than the textbook education. Because the days of the textbook education getting you ahead, unless you're in a certain profession, they're over. You got to have common sense. You got to have a little street smart. You know what I'm saying? You got to think outside the box if you want to get that bag. Because doing what everybody else is doing, following the herd, you ain't going to get that bag. It's not going to. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I had a job at one time. Yeah, I had a regular job. I had to experience everything. But, you know, in my entrepreneurial career, I took a few 9-to-5s to get the information and to get the training and experiences that I needed, because I always knew this ain't it for me. You know, this is a stepping stone. And most of the time when I got what I needed, I branched off and I did my own thing. So I always asked a lot of questions about things normal employees wouldn't ask about, and they would answer them. And I would take notes on that. I would go home, I would research on it, because I knew I was figuring out on my way out. I watched how they did it, and I thought in my mind I could do it better. I did that, and I proved that. So how many different businesses have I had? Well, let's see. I've had a tattoo shop for a few years. I had an auto body repair shop for a while, a few years. What else? Hypnotherapy practice. That one was a good one, and still to this day, I still use some of those techniques, and every now and then I'll get somebody who will find out. And for the ones who ain't scared, because a lot of people are scared of that. They think, oh, what if I get stuck? What if I can't wake up? What if you make me do something stupid? And nah, it don't work that way. Hypnotherapy doesn't work that way. And used the right way, it's like you can reprogram your internal computer to have you doing amazing things. And people don't understand that. What other businesses have I had? Let's see. Home remodeling business. That was a good one. Made me a lot of money doing that. And my current business now, Solar EPC, a solar company. Now, this is the one that's bringing that bag. This is the one that's bringing that bag on a consistent basis. I ain't even finna hold you on that. So the solar business has been good to me. I'm not gonna act like I haven't had any pitfalls or got burned a few times, but in any business, you're gonna get burned. You're gonna have to learn the hard way, the do's and don'ts of whatever profession that you choose. As long as you're choosing something that's benefiting you. I wasted a lot of my time. I won't say wasted, but I used a lot of my energy and time to help somebody else build their dream. And I was happy and content with what I was getting for my help. But you got to look at the bigger picture when it comes to business and finances and money, because you can be content with a check, say $1,000 a week check. That's fine. You can live good off that. I mean, decent. You could pay your bills, have a few extra dollars left over to go to the club, take your lady out somewhere, but you can't make any real major pivotal moves off a regular check that an average person brings home. You're going to need chunks of money. You're going to need a big payout a few times in order to position yourself to where you can make the big bags. Because with any business, you got to have certain tools. You got to have certain resources, and those aren't free. They're not. You got to be set up to get the big money. A lot of people don't understand that, and they don't want to get into that arena, but you have to. Now, if your goal is to live a regular, mediocre joker life, then, yeah, go punch their clock. But keep in mind, one day you may go to work and they may tell you, we don't need you anymore, or we're laying people off. I've experienced that. That is it's like your whole world is crushed because you weren't prepared for that. For someone to tell you, hey, no work today. We gotta let a few people go. And then you got to go home and explain that to your girlfriend or your wife or whoever your significant other is, that you just lost your job. Not got fired. You got laid off. What can you do? I never want to experience that again. And when it happened to me, and it was a long time ago, but I said, I will never experience this again. I will never put myself in a position to where someone can take my livelihood away from me. And the only other time that happened to me was right before I started my own solar company, actually. And I'm glad it did happen, because if it didn't, I would probably still be in that same comfortable position that I was in. And I didn't get let go because I did something wrong. I didn't get let go because I was laid off. I got let go from that job because the owner of that company found out that I had filed an LLC for my own solar company. Now, the way he found out, I won't get into it. It was some sneaky lowdown stuff. But when he found out, this guy called me to his office, and he printed out my papers and put them in a manila folder. And he said, no, don't sit here. Sit in my chair. Check this out now. Check this out. He had me sit in his chair in his desk, and he sat in the chair on the other side of the desk. And he said, open it up. I opened it up, and I'm looking at it, and this fool then printed out the control papers for my LLC that they obtained through my personal email that was on a company laptop that I had given back because I bought my own laptop. And he told me, he said, what would you think if you were me? And in my mind, I'm like, I wouldn't think nothing. What are you talking about? He said, I got to let you go. I feel like your competition. Key words. I feel like your competition. When I registered that in my brain, I knew right then and there, if this man feels like I'm competition and he's generating over $1 million a year with this solar company, and it's just me, and he feels like I'm competition, I have to be on to something. Excuse me. So I'm like, yeah, cool. All right. I went and got my little tools out of the little company van. I called my wife, like, hey, come pick me up. And when my wife picked me up, I told her, I said, he's going to realize he did me a favor, and at the same time, he made the worst mistake of his life, because now I have to prove that I am competition, because he said it. He put it out in the universe, and I had to make it true. I had to make it true. And it didn't happen overnight. It did take time, because like in this business, in the solar business, nobody's going to give you that secret sauce that you need to get set up, because they want to use anybody who's valuable in the solar business. They want to use you as leverage. especially if you're like me, if you were a good installer, a good leader, excuse me, I don't know what's going on, and you are someone who was business minded, that's an asset to any business, especially solar, when you can turn those jobs accurately and fast. That's generating so much money for them. And people working the regular part of these businesses don't realize how much money is coming in. You're just happy to get your check. But I always knew that there was a bigger bag. So that was the best thing he could have did for me, because now today I am competition. And that goes for any field that you're in, that you're working in right now. If someone could have started that business, you could do the same thing. But if you're not determined and you don't have the drive to do it, you're not. So you'll have to accept whatever you're given. And I refuse to accept what I'm given. And I hope that this strikes a chord with anybody watching this video, is to know that you have value. Don't think you don't have value. You have value. You just haven't focused on your value. And everybody here is good at something. You know, we're all good at something. Whether it be what everyone else can accept, that's their business. You know, you don't have to put on a persona for people in your community or people in your circle so you can seem cool. Now, if you're really good at something, say you're really good at computers, or you're really good at tech, or you're really good at IT, or whatever it is, but you don't want your homies to know you're good at it because they'll think you're a nerd or whatever. You know, you'll accept less than what you supposed to get. You'll accept less than what you deserve to keep faith with the people that are around you who are going nowhere. These same people who will judge you and talk about what you're trying to do when you're trying to open a business, or you're trying to do the entrepreneurial thing, that judge you and say, oh, you should just, man, you should stop doing that. You should just go get a regular job like everybody else, like we are. That way you know you got a check coming in. That'll be your downfall. That'll be your downfall, because, you know, cause the dude getting the big bag, the dude that stepped out there and took a chance on himself, the guy that gambled on himself, oh, that's the guy that's hitting. He's getting them numbers. And you can't hate on that. People are going to make it hard for you, because when you do something outside of the norm like that to better yourself or to better your situation, you take a lot of people out of their comfort zone, because you make them reflect and look at themselves, especially if you all come from the same hood, or you come from the same family, or you come from the same area, and you do something like that. You open a business and your business starts thriving, or they see that you on the come up. You on the come up. Oh, they gonna try to pull you back down, because then they gotta look at themselves like, what am I doing? Am I doing something to better my pockets, or to better my family? You know what I'm saying? To better my situation. And when they ain't not doing that, and they see you doing it, boy, they gonna hate hard. And you gotta be a strong person. You gotta be a strong person to block that out. But like I said before, I'm a Capricorn. I gives a damn what anybody thinks about whatever I'm doing, because in my mind, I know I'm going somewhere. And usually, when they doubt me and they talk all that mess, when it happens and it starts working, then they're like, damn, you did it for real. Oh, yeah, I won't play. I don't play like that. Capricorns don't play about their money. They don't play about their finances or their situation. I refuse to accept nothing less than the best of what I deserve for the time I invest. You know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't either. We all deserve the best, but you got to earn that. And nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody handed me anything. If somebody hands you something, you won't respect it. You won't be grateful for it. You'll treat it like it's nothing, and you'll waste it. But if you earn it, if you get out there and make it happen, and you earn it, or you'll cherish it, and you won't let nobody take that from you. So what's my message for today? Raise your standards. Expect more. Act the part. If you're valuable, let everybody know you valuable. It's not being arrogant. It's not being conceited. You know what I'm saying? But you got to let the world know that you're valuable, that you're worth something, and they need to treat you accordingly. Because if you don't, they will treat you like you're nothing. My message for the day. Till next time, your host, Edward Harrison, at Edward Harrison 28, a.k.a. Money Mo. Go get the money. You know who I am. In Decatur, where it's great all the way to Stone Mountain like Darth Vader. Holla at me. Peace.